somebody told you that you would never dig out of whatever it is, somebody at some point decided they knew your ceiling. And I'm telling you, they were wrong about mine. And I think if you actually sit with it, you already know they're wrong about yours too. You do not have to prove it to them.
Welcome to Give a Heck. I am your host, Dwight Heck, and for much of my life, lived my life in quiet desperation, wondering how I was going to pay the bills, take vacations, save for retirement, and one day wondering if I would get off the hamster wheel of life and have purpose. A life that most of society lives, which takes us to work, then home, then repeat, and pays us hopefully enough just to survive. The harsh truth that most live with more months than money and have no idea how to live life on purpose, not by accident. This ensures the mass majority are living not just financially broke, however, emotionally and mentally as well due to financial pressures. In each episode, I will introduce you to thoughts, ideas, and guests that can help you to learn how you too can live life on purpose, not by accident.
Welcome back to the Give a Heck podcast, where we challenge survival mode and choose intentional living. I am Dwight Heck, and today it is just me and you, no guests, just a solo conversation. I want to start with a question. Have you ever had somebody look you in the eye and tell you flat out what you are not going to be able to do? Not what might be hard for you, not what you would work at. I mean, told this is not going to happen for you. So you might as well stop trying. I have. I was 14 years old the first time, and I want to tell you that story today because I think a lot of you are carrying around your own version of it, and I think you need to hear how mine turned out. One more thing before I get into it. This one is going to run shorter than what you are used to from me. That is on purpose. Short and sweet, straight to the point, no wandering. Some stories do not need an hour, they just need to be told right. I was bullied as a kid, and I lived with a fair amount of fear and dread. Every day, the goal was just to avoid humiliation, avoid shame, avoid physical pain. So I did what a lot of kids in that position do. I tried to blend into the background and not draw attention to myself. And the story I built in my head from that was simple. My dreams did not matter. I was not as good, not as deserving as the other kids around me. A big part of where that came from was my asthma. Not the mild kind, severe uncontrolled asthma my whole life. And this was the early 70s. Rescue inhalers, as we know them today, did not exist yet. That limited a lot for me. I had to give up sports early because I could not physically perform for the length of time most sports require. And kids do not need much of a reason to find someone to pick on. Being this sick kid who could not keep up gave them plenty. I got bullied for it. On top of that, I was flat out taught not to attempt new things, not to push myself physically, not encouraged to try and see how far I could get. Told straight up, do not bother. And that was only the beginning, because not long after I found out I had something else, something that in some ways hit even harder. When I was around 13, I found out I had scoliosis, a degenerative curve in the spine. My one sister had already been diagnosed years before me, so when the signs showed up in me, my parents did not wait around. They got me in to see her specialist. Looking back at it now, it runs in the family. My paternal grandfather had it mildly. My father has a touch of it too. It is in two of my five kids as well. Some of what we hand down to our kids, we never get a vote on. Asthma, scoliosis, allergies. The body just does what the body does. There's another kind of inheritance, though, one we actually do have a say over. The things we pass down that have nothing to do with genetics and everything to do with what we lived through and never dealt with. That one story is for another day. Hang on to that thought. It is going to matter later. For now, back to the brace. So there I am, 13 years old, already dealing with asthma my whole life, and now I get handed this. And right around my 14th birthday, the specialist sets me down and says, here are your two options. Option one, surgery. They fuse stainless steel rods into your spine, and then you spend 6 months in an upper body cast while it heals. Option two, a brace. You wear it basically all day, every day for years while your body finishes growing. I remember exactly what scared me about the surgery. It was not the operation itself, it was what came after. I was told I would never be able to bend down again like a normal person for the rest of my life. I pictured myself walking around stiff, like some kind of robot for the rest of my days. 14 years old, and that is the picture in my head. So I choose the brace. Now, let me actually describe this thing to you because I do not think people understand what the word brace really meant back then. This was not some soft support you strap on. This was a caged body brace, 23 hours a day for almost 3 years, right through my biggest growth spurt. It had a steel collar that went around my neck with a chin rest built into it and two hard plastic pads at the back of my head. I could not turn my head, not left, not right. If I wanted to see something that was not directly in front of me, I had to rotate my entire body. There was a 5 centimeter thick bar running down from my chin into the hard leather and steel form that wrapped around my hips, pulling my stomach in about 5 centimeters, and on my back, two more steel bars running down either side of my spine. 23 hours a day. I want you to sit with that for a second because I think it's easier to hear a story like this and let it slide right past you. Picture being 14 in that thing in the hallway at school, at the dinner table, trying to sleep in it. And here is the part that struck me more than the brace itself. The adults around me, out of genuine care, started telling me what I should not do anymore. Stop with the physical stuff. Do not push yourself. You need to be careful. I know they meant well. It was the same message I'd already gotten once with the asthma, just louder this time. But when you're already a kid who has spent his whole life dealing with asthma, who already feels like he cannot keep up with everybody else, and now the grown-ups in your life are confirming it, telling you that you are fragile. That message goes deep. It tells you you're not like the other kids. You're not going to get to do what they get to do. I want to be honest with you. That message tried to take root in me. When you hear it enough from enough people who supposedly know better, some parts of you starts to believe it. But I had something in me that refused to fully accept it. I still picked up a bat, I still golfed, I got out on a bowling team, and we won the regional championship, brace and all. Every time somebody told me I could not, some stubborn part of me went looking for a way to prove that still could, at least a version of it. It was not just sports. At 12 years old, I started my own paper route, running it with the same severe asthma and all those allergies already working against me. I delivered those papers in whatever the weather threw at me. And on the days I was too sick, two, I collected the money myself, door to door. I paid for the papers out of my own checking account every 2 weeks, whether my customers had paid me yet or not. 12 years old, running a small business, sick or not, I think tenacity is an actual superpower. I honestly believe that, and I think more people need to tap into it. It is one of mine, and I know so many others out there have built that same thing out of whatever life tried to use to hold them back. That is really the whole message of today's episode, if I'm honest with you. It is not really about scoliosis. It is about what happens the moment somebody, a doctor, a parent, a teacher, a boss, even the voice in your own head decides they know the ceiling on what you are capable of and hands you that ceiling like it is a fact. I think about Terry Fox a lot when I think about this. A Canadian lost his leg to cancer, told by plenty of people that what he was planning was not realistic. He started running across our country anyway, a full marathon every single day, starting on the East Coast. He made it 143 days and over 5,000 kilometers before the cancer that had spread to his lungs forced him to stop. He passed away 9 months later. He never even finished what he set out to do, and he is still one of the most important Canadians who ever lived. because of what that run turned into. Millions of people in over 60 countries now still run every year in his name. What did I take from that as a kid? That the limitations people hand you are only as real part of me as the amount of power you give them. So let me take you somewhere else for a minute. Fast forward more than 30 years past that brace. In the fall of 2020, I was invited on a business retreat with a group of entrepreneurs, and part of that was a hike through the Narrows in Zion National Park. If you've ever seen it, picture a 10-kilometer hike where you're actually walking through a river, cold water, with these towering sandstone walls rising up on either side of you. It is one of the most beautiful things you will ever do in your life. 3 weeks before I was supposed to go, I injured my Achilles tendon. I'm not going to lie to you. For a minute there, I thought that trip was done. But I made a decision. I went after it the same way I went after that bowling championship as a kid in a brace. Physiotherapy 3 times a week, rehab at home on top of that. I needed medical clearance just to be allowed on a hike, given the terrain. And I did not get that clearance until less than 24 hours before I flew out. I got on that plane not fully knowing if my body was going to hold up. And I did that hike, 10 kilometers through cold river water between walls of stone that had been standing there since long before any of us showed up. That cold water was actually the one thing that felt good on the tendon the whole way through. I want you to think about that picture for a second. A 14-year-old kid locked into a steel and leather for 23 hours a day, being told to sit still and stop pushing himself. And decades later, that same guy rehabbing on an injured Achilles tendon in 3 weeks flat so he would not miss standing in a river in one of the most beautiful places on earth. That is not a coincidence. That is a decision that got made a long time ago and just kept getting remade over and over every time life handed me a new reason to sit down. Here is what I want you to take from this. Whatever your version of the brace is, maybe it is a diagnosis, maybe it is something somebody said to you when you were a kid that you still carry, maybe it is a financial situation somebody told you that you would never dig out of. Whatever it is, somebody at some point decided they knew your ceiling. And I'm telling you, they were wrong about mine. And I think if you actually sit with it, you already know they're wrong about yours too. You do not have to prove it to them. You just have to prove it to that 14-year-old version of you who's still in there listening. That is where I want to leave this one with you today. Before I let you go, if this one landed with you, do me a favor and go leave a review wherever you are listening to this. It genuinely helps this show reach the next person who needs to hear it. And if you're watching this on YouTube, please hit that subscribe button. I would love to have you back for the next one. If you are in Alberta or BC and you want to talk about actual financial picture, I'm licensed to help you with that directly. Go to giveaheck.com and book a discovery call. If you are anywhere else in Canada or anywhere in the world, I still want to talk to you. That conversation just looks a little bit different. More coaching, more mindset, and that is available to you too. Same website. Now, that story I just told you about somebody deciding they knew what I was capable of and being dead wrong, that was not the only time in my life that happened. The next time, it was not a doctor holding an x-ray. It was a room full of engineers who had no idea that a 20-something kid with an electronics diploma was about to fix the thing they had already given up on. That one is coming next, right here on the Give a Heck podcast. Remember, it's never too late to give a heck.
Thank you for taking time out of your day and listening to Give a Heck. If you find value, I'd appreciate you sharing with your friends and family so they too can learn how to live life on purpose, not by accident. So you do not miss the next episode, please subscribe on your favorite podcast platform and please also post a review. I look forward to reading your comments. This has been Dwight Heck. If you want to check out other podcast episodes or today's show notes, please check out my website, giveaheck.com. And until next time, together let us all strive to give a heck.